Absolutely insane. All right, let's bring my guy Tone in here. Get his thoughts on some of the things that Seth said.
Big Very
interesting. Sir. Very interesting guy, isn't he, man?
Man, I love Seth, man. Every time we get to connect, picking his brain is just a wealth of knowledge, man. It's always a masterclass.
Absolutely. Hey, your take on what he said about Desai and how he sees how he thinks it's an upgrade. And get this, you and I talked about this the last couple days here, Tone. Sean Desai doesn't have the same personnel because he has more issues that he's fighting through. Injuries, new faces, not a new scheme, but maybe a scheme he's got to be more accustomed with. Because remember what he comes from, Tone, he comes from that Vic Fangio pressure. And how the Eagles played a year ago, there wasn't pressure because they relied on the front four to get home, front seven, to get the sacks. Maybe he's also had to deal with that also going because in that Ram game, he must have said this on the sidelines. Shit, man, they're picking us apart. Cup's going to go for 250 if we don't do something different here. What does he do? He brings pressure. So to me, I think I never thought about the coordinators having to adjust to something maybe that they're not accustomed to. And I'm not putting Brian Johnson in that because he's worked with Jalen, but I am putting Sean Desai in that. That's kind of what I thought Seth was saying just a little bit.
Yeah, I would actually have to say I think Sean Desai is an upgrade because I've seen things from him that we never saw from Jonathan Gannon. Now, look, I'm not sure what he was told to do. I'm not sure what he was directed to do from Nick Sirianni. I know Nick Sirianni does want them to play this Vic Fangio style of defense, play back, nothing big, no explosive plays, play 5 to 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. I know that's what Nick Sirianni wants because they understand that there are some main stat categories that really dictate if you win games. It's turnovers, time of possession, and explosive plays, right? And all those things are on their side instead of the opponents. But Sean Desai, man, I just see a guy doing the best he can with what he's been given, especially with the linebacker position and the safety position being limited. The linebackers have played better, especially Nicholas Morrow. But Sean Desai, man, it really stood out in that Rams game, that first half. We all saw what happened. Those guys were getting pretty much eaten up. And then he comes back in, and it's an entirely different defense. How do you go from allowing damn near 200 yards in the first half, and then all of a sudden you allow less than 100 yards in totality in the entire second?
Fabulous.
It was a tale of two halves for the defense. So I have to give Sean Desai the edge because I see him doing more with less.
Okay, Tone, we've now seen it. We're now hearing it. Nakobe Dean's getting reps. Hey, we're seeing the politics of how we hear a little bit. And if you get even Seth didn't really want to go down that rabbit hole a little bit. He kind of even said, okay. And he kind of danced around it a little bit too.
Well, I don't have to, so that's a good thing.
But Tone, here we are, right? Here we are again.
Right.
And this is the kind of stuff that I've always questioned with the team is that, hey, man, Seth Joyner can't be the linebacker coach. But could you imagine walking into that coaching room and telling Seth Joyner, you got to play this guy and you got to put that guy in over a guy who's been really, how about this, really opening people's eyes because I don't think people really expected this from him.
I was always raised, you get what you earn. You know what I mean? You keep what you kill. So last time I checked, I ain't seen Nakobe Dean hunting. I seen Anthony Morrow out there hunting everything, elk, moose, everything. He deserves to keep what he kills until further notice. So, I mean, look, I got into a little bit of a Twitter debate with one of my homies, man. He does Eagles content, and his whole point was, Nakobe, he can play the pass, all that kind of stuff. In my mind, I'm like, how do you know that? You know what I mean? I've seen Nakobe Dean. I'm sorry. I've seen Nicholas Morrow do his thing. Nicholas Morrow is a guy who's actually ranked in the top 10 in damn near every category when it comes to the linebacker position, right? I believe he's ranked 12th in terms of pass defense. But I mean, what more can you ask for from a guy that was damn near cut a few weeks ago, right? So when you think about it from that perspective, I'm not going to upset what's going on right now. I just can't see myself benching a guy who has been producing. He's giving you sacks. He's giving you tackles for loss. He's not a liability in pass defense. He's always hitting the right angles in terms of run defense, right? He's a tackling machine. The entire defense right now is playing really well in terms of tackling. We don't talk about this enough. The defense is tackling very well this year in comparison to.
Oh yeah, compared to a year ago, you're right on. I hadn't thought about that. You're right.
So I don't know what Sean Desai is telling them, but for some reason, whatever Gannon was telling them in terms of tackling, it wasn't resonating the way Desai is. But when it comes to his linebacker position, again, Nakobe Dean, I'm not throwing him under the bus. I'm not throwing him in the mud. I'm not saying he can't play football. But as it stands right now, we already seen on 2 separate occasions, training camp and week 1, he can't stay healthy. But you know who can stay healthy? You know who has been able to stand up? You know who has been able to weather the storm? Nicholas Morrow. He's been getting physical down there. He's been in the mud. He's been in the trenches going crazy with these guys, him and Zach Cunningham. Why would I mess that up, Sills? Why? Because I like him. Because he's a bull? Come on.
I think because you drafted him.
And that's see, they call it, the NFL also means not for long as well. So my thing is, Nakobe Dean, you were drafted in the 3rd round, but how long does that status matter? Not for long, in my opinion.
Remember something, the personnel people can't play, so they play the game instead by keeping them on the roster. Nicholas Morrow to the Eagles, I mean, he's important right now because he's playing well. It's the only reason, because he's not. Nakobe Dean has money and an equity pick of a 3rd rounder invested in him. That's a lot. Mm-hmm. That's a lot for an organization that doesn't spend a lot at linebackers. The most productive linebackers that you've had was
guys that are hungry.
Right,
guys that are hungry.
TJ, and one was a guy who was cut by the Chargers, and the other guy who was a UDFA, and you had no equity in him. Now you have equity here, and you just cut a 3rd rounder in the offseason. You see where I'm going? I mean, that front office, they keep eyeballs on that. And if you're a free agent on a team in the NFL, you've got to go over and above. And I think these guys are. By the way, to your point about being a better tackling team, I think it's got a lot to do with the 2 defensive tackles in there playing the way they're playing it. There's better tackling going on because they're not getting the 2nd levels and they're not getting the 3rd levels. And I think it's got to do with Zach Cunningham and Nicholas Morrow putting people on the ground, that you're seeing better productivity on getting people on the ground all around as a unit.
Yeah, let me say this, right? Real quick. I've been hearing on Twitter, I've been reading on Twitter, right? Hey, why don't we just rotate the linebackers in, to try to get Nakobe Dean some reps? Why don't we try that out? And if it doesn't work, we can just go back to Nicholas Morrow and Zach Cunningham. What are we running, a linebacker camp? I'm not in the business of experimenting with guys right now. I'm trying to win the Super Bowl. This isn't a rebuilding team. We're not the Giants. We're not the Commanders. I don't give a damn about experimenting with the linebacker position. Since when do we rotate linebackers now? Because you like the guy? We got to stop this effectuation with these players, man. At the end of the day, who's producing, who's not? Who can stay healthy, who can't? If you're on the wrong side of that line, I'm sorry, baby, you got to pack your bags, or you got to sit on the bench and drink some ice.
Lake Titicaca summer camp. That's what we're running here with the Eagles, right?
We're running. Hey, Sills, we're running a linebacker camp. Hey, listen, give us all the linebackers. We're linebacker you. We're testing you all out. Everyone gets a snap. Okay, everyone gets a snap.
Everyone gets a snap, and everyone gets a cupcake. All right. Hey, let's do this here. I said that this game coming up with the Jets is one of the most important games on the schedule for this. Okay, we're 5 in. Now we're going into 6. I mean, Tone, we got to see a full 60-minute ball game eventually, because on the tail side of this, you got the Dolphins, a Commander team for the last 2 games has given you problems. I mean, they're 1-1 in the last 2 games versus you. So they've given you issues. Their coaching has improved. I don't give a shit they got killed by the Bears. Against you, they play you well. Right. Then you got Cowboys. Then you got the bye. Then you got the Chiefs, Bills, Niners. Any one of those 3 teams, not the Cowboys. Told you, man, that's like a chick that consistently cheats on you. I'm not going there any longer with the Cowboys, man. I'm sick of her cheating on me. I don't care how good she looks, how good she is on table 6. I don't care what kind of drink she serves. I don't care. I'm not going there any longer. But that Chiefs, Bills, 49ers run, any one of those 3 teams can win the Super Bowl. You've got to have played a 60-minute ball game, or you're not beating those teams.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. This is where the rubber has to meet the road, right? You always say this. You know, the Philadelphia Eagles, they have not put in a full game of complete football, all 4 quarters. For some reason, it's always been something lacking in each quarter, right? And I think the passing game is coming along. The running game is always going to be there. I think the defense, for some reason, even though we did see what we saw in that Rams game, still the defense hasn't earned my full trust. Right? This is going to be a season long project with this defense. But in terms of the
But didn't
schedule,
we say that? We kept telling and we kept
we
prepping
spoke about it.
people that we were waiting for kind of like week 8 to get a better assessment on who
Yeah.
they were. You know, you and I kind of knew that this is kind of what it was floating towards. And I think we've been spot on with this defense. I've actually what's been impressive, Tone, has been the run defense.
Absolutely.
Because I thought they were going to have dual issues: pass coverage because of the safeties and linebackers, and also run defense, because it's been 2 years in a row. The run defense is what's keeping that thing afloat there, in my opinion.
Absolutely. This is the best the run defense has looked. And the pass defense right now, they're the middle of the pack, maybe bottom half of the league in terms of that. So when you put all that into perspective, these next games are so crucial, right? You're going to, like, the Jets. This is an important game because the last thing you want to do is overlook a team. Now, the Eagles are never really in the business of overlooking anybody. That's the one thing I do love about the Philadelphia Eagles. They come in and handle business every single week, and you never go into a game, or even if it's a win or a loss, you never feel like, damn, that team didn't look ready. They didn't look prepared. They got punched in the mouth. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really see too many of that. We haven't seen that since 2021. So in saying all that, I expect this team to be prepared for the New York Jets. I fully anticipate that. But you're right. This is an important game. You don't want to overlook it. You want to at least give yourself the best possible chance. And you want to establish a good trend going into that Miami game, right? Because you don't want to go into that Miami game still questioning your red zone offense. Because a team like Miami, they're going to put points up no matter if it's a bomb or if they're driving all the way down the field. They know how to score fast, and they know how to score in a hurry. So when you put all that into perspective, this Philadelphia Eagles offense has to get the red zone offense taken care of. You know, the way the Eagles run offense, you know, they're really good for giving you 10, 11, 12, 13 play drives, right? That's a good formula to beat the Dolphins, because the Dolphins, they thrive on getting as many possessions and putting as many points on the board as possible. You limit their possessions, you score in the red zone, then you make this game really physical. I think you can beat the Dolphins, but you got to take care of the Jets first.
Off topic here. Who's Mr. Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts or Bryce Harper?
Oh, man. You know what? Right now, because they're in the playoffs, and they're doing their thing, and Harper is fresh off that 2 home run, 4 RBI night, right now, Bryce Harper has the city's heart right now. Right now.
Okay, he's Mr.
Right
Philly.
now.
Oh, so this is a moving title belt.
Of course, but only between those two. Only between those two. Joel Embiid right now, he's the Philadelphia Jester right now. But other than that, you know, Jalen Hurts and Bryce Harper, they rotate the crown every single week, man. And right now, Harper, he's in the playoffs. The way they're balling, man, you got to give it to him right now. It's only week 6 in the NFL. Jalen Hurts, you know, he has to continue to do his thing. He's Mr. Philadelphia too. You know what I mean? It's one A and one B.
There's no way you're from Philly, because Philly guys don't go both.
Okay? That's funny.
Hey,
listen,
Sue,
man. Listen,
there's nobody in Philly that will go. You either have an opinion or you do not.
Well, I'll tell you this, right? Well, I'll tell you this.
That guy was gangster last night, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how can you, like, first of all, you see the cap Hurts season, right? I need another cap that say Bryce season, because Bryce snapped last night. But I'll tell you this though, right? You question my Philadelphia pedigree, right? Born and raised in North Philly, Tim Bach from Temple University, man. 23rd and Dolphins. Stop playing with me, man. Don't question my Philly pedigree, man. Don't question my Philly card, okay? I do this. Water ice, you know, salt pretzels, baby, cheesesteaks. Don't do that. Hoagies, you know what I mean? Fried wings, you know what I'm saying? Salt, pepper, ketchup on wings, fried hard, baby. Poke a hole in my top. Lemonade, homemade iced tea, baby, from the Chinese store. Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that, baby. I'm too Philly. Don't do that.
I love that, man. All right, how about the Cowboys? Did you see the new comic coming out of the Cowboys today? I think it was one of their DBs. He comes out and he goes, you know, every great shooter has a bad night. And, you know, that's kind of what it was for us. We had a bad night against the Cowboys. You know, hey, but you move on to the next game. You keep firing them up. And, you know, I forget the guy who had the quote, but he's now comparing it to like a guy like Steph Curry having a bad night. That it was only a bad night against the Niners.
Okay, if that was a bad night,
I guess. Hey, what about the bad night against Arizona?
oh my God, yo, why do the Cowboys do this? Look, I'll tell you this, man. I tweeted last night. I've never seen like the fallout from this Cowboys loss to the Niners is unprecedented. Have you ever seen a fallout like this after a loss in the regular season? I've never seen anything like it. We're already on Thursday. They should be focused on the Chargers, but we're still talking about the 49ers.
I've never seen more people make excuses for the Cowboys. I mean, credited national people making excuses for that ass beating. Like, I think sometimes Tone, I think sometimes when you're in the media and you get so focused on talking about one thing all the time. Now, I get that for local radio and TV because nobody in Philly wants to hear any shit about Detroit unless you're playing Detroit. So
Exactly.
I get that, okay? But when you're talking about making excuses up for a team just so that you can get clicks because it's relevant because the Cowboys are the highest rated, and then you turn around, it's like talking about the Lakers. Why would I talk about the Lakers when the Lakers are not even like one of the top 8 teams in the West? I mean, maybe top 4 teams in the West. Denver is the team. Phoenix is the team. Golden State. I'm like, how many times do we talk about LeBron and the Lakers and Dak and the Cowboys? And I'm like, holy shit, man, these 2 teams are going nowhere. And I think we get caught up in that as media guys sometimes.
Listen, man, the reason the Cowboys are getting babied right now is because, think about it, man, these national guys, they want to make sure their key 5 to the Jerry Jones Thanksgiving banquet still works, man. They want to make sure they still get invited to the Jerry Jones mixer, okay? That's why you see people making excuses for the Cowboys. But the reality is, listen, Shannon Sharp talks about this all the time in Club Shay Shay. He's in the business of W's and L's. We that's all we serve here. We don't serve nothing else. We serve W's and L's. Now, when you come in, we provide what you earn. Okay? W or L, what you want. The Cowboys serving up 2 L's right now. The Cardinals game, that should have never happened, but it did. The 49ers game, we thought that'd be more competitive, but it happened the way it happened. The reality is, man, they're pretenders. And they want to be America's team. They want to be held in this regard. And I still don't understand why we call them that. You know what I mean? They've given us 30 years of negligence, 30 years of just non-productivity. Like, I don't understand how a team can be this disjointed and still command this much respect.
Yeah, but
I don't understand
the conversation of going, hey, it's just a game. Just happened.
It's just a game now. Okay. Y'all been talking about this game all
Michael Irvin and I were talking about this last night. That's the kind of game that you don't forget. That's the kind of game that eats at you. That's the kind of game that makes and puts a fire even more so on you that will never happen again to you. Because I mean, I talked to a couple Denver Broncos. Remember when the Broncos went back-to-back and they won those back-to-back Super Bowls? I think it was Stink. He told me the 2 years before the last Super Bowl, they got beat in the playoffs by the Jags at home.
Wow.
And
embarrassing.
He said that loss resonated so bad for us, we won the next 2 Super Bowls.
I don't think that'll work for the Cowboys.
We had just as good a team that year that we could have had a 3-peat and that we rolled with those next 2. They got beat by the Jags prior to them 2 double-peats, them 2 back-to-backs.
Right.
And he's like, and the Cowboys, they just roll them off their shoulder, these losses. Hey, that's one thing I like about the 49ers. I'll tell you one thing, man, about that event coming up here, and it's going to be an event at the Link, is that the Niners want them. I want them to want that because that's going to make that game more electric. And the Eagles have been in the light. What's going to make that game great, and why that game will be, in my opinion, the most competitive game of the year. I never thought I'd say this. The 2 best teams are in the NFC. Remember you and I talking like this, Tone? Hey, all the great football is going to be over in the AFC. That's not quite lived up to that hype. Okay.
Yeah,
You know what's lived up to the hype? How about this? And I don't think this gets enough credit with the Eagles. You know, most teams have those dips after Super Bowls. They've had dips in performance, but not in record. And I'm telling you, man, I look at the Rams, look at the Bucks, look at all these teams that follow up them Super Bowls, even 2 years removed. They're lesser teams. This team is retooling on the run. Most of the teams, they rebuild after the Super Bowls. They're retooling right in front of us, and they're 5-0. I can't. The only team I can think of is probably the Patriots that did that during that run.
The thing about the Eagles, man, when they lost that Super Bowl to the Chiefs, sure, there were many things to argue about, the field, all that kind of stuff, yada, yada, yada. But if you notice, this team has completely closed the door on the 2022 season. They have short-term memory now. And they realized that they were so close to beating one of the best quarterbacks that ever played this game and won the Super Bowl at the same time. It's like killing two elks with one arrow. You know what I mean? Like you were able to just, you had a chance to make history in such an amazing way. And they know they were so close with a quarterback that everybody doubted. But today is today. And they understand that in order to get back to where they were, they can't afford to misstep. They can't afford to overlook anybody. They can't afford to play with their food. Even though, like you said, they have been a little bit disjointed on the field, right? We haven't seen a complete game from them like we've seen from the 49ers. But they know how to win games. I think that's the biggest thing they learned from last year. They've learned how to win games, and that translates no matter who you're playing. But when you go up against those top tier guys like the Dolphins, like the Niners that's coming up, and you're right, that's going to be an event. That game is going to be at 4:00. They need to flex at the 8:00 because that game is going to be prime time. One of the most viewed games we've seen because of what's led up to it. When you think about everything they've experienced up until now, the Eagles have learned how to win games. They have to put everything together for this matchup. You know what I mean? The 49ers, right? I firmly believe they looked at the Cowboys as if they were just in the way. Think about that.
A means to an end.
A means to an end. I think the matchup that they have circled really is the Eagles game.
Absolutely. Tone, I'm going to expand on something you said.
Sure.
You said they learned how to win. They learned how to win. I'm gonna turn that inside out. I think they know how not to blow games. And I think that is more of a skill set, because I agree with you. When you're having so much success, and since the 2-5 start they have, when you build up a resilience where you know what you need to do, that something doesn't get away from you. Like, the one thing since that 2-5 start, I can't think of one game. And the injury, and you know what? I'm going to dub them with the asterisk, the injury losses. Okay? The only game that got away from them in the last 2.5 years was the Washington game.
Yeah.
Okay? Was the Washington game. And that got away from them. Maybe the first year Tone, they learned how to win. They went 9-8. They didn't realize they were that good. Nobody did. You're coming off a 4-win season. Nobody even knew who the kid was playing quarterback. You got into the game. And by the way, you got blown out by the GOAT. Gee, really? I wonder how many guys have been blown out by the GOAT before in a playoff when he's won 36 of them. You know what I mean? I mean, he's blown out a lot of great players. I'm not hanging that moccasin on Jalen going, hey, see, you got killed by Brady? Okay, so did Manning.
Right.
I mean, you want to go there? But then after that year, I think they learned how to be resilient. And I think that's the difference right there. It's not learning how to win. It's not learning how to just not show up. And the Cowboys haven't learned not to be a team that can't show up on a consistent basis.
You know why? Because they've been given everything. That's what happens when you've been given everything and you've had to earn nothing. The Cowboys, when you put on that jersey, you automatically are given respect. When you put on the Eagles jersey, you have to earn the respect. As a matter of fact, you have to take it. No matter what we do, no matter who we beat, there's still a certain level of respect the Philadelphia Eagles have to take. The Cowboys, when you put on that jersey, they just give it to you. They think they deserve to win the Super Bowl. They think they're owed it, right? They think they're entitled to it. But since when do we go through life when you're just handed things? Since when does something great come to those who don't earn it? You want to win the Super Bowl? You better put your feet in the dirt and knock the man out in front of you. I've been really, I've been getting into a lot of boxing lately, right? And the reason I like boxing so much is because it's mano a mano. No matter what you said yesterday or the day before,
clarity.
it's clarity. You got to prove it to me now. And that's the difference between the Eagles and the Cowboys. The Eagles, they always ready to prove it. The Cowboys, they always want to give in to them. But guess what? They got what they deserved against the 49ers. And I think that's the kind of loss that either does one or two things to you. It's either going to make you rise or you're going to crumble. The Cowboys aren't built to rise because they have no foundation. They have no spirit. They have no souls in that organization. It's all about the glitz. It's all about the glam, all about the money and the ladies and Jerry Jones banquets and making sure you got the royal blue bow ties and all that, showing up to all the events. No,
don't you understand? If they lose, they'll be covered more.
It means nothing.
If they lose, they'll be covered more this week.
I bet they will. And guess what? Jerry Jones will be happy with that. Hey, listen, as long as I meet my quota, as long as the check clear, I ain't got no fear. And guess what, man? The Eagles, man, that's why I love being from Philly, man. I love it, Sills. You get me fired up because everything, we got to earn it.
I never thought about it until you just said it. It's funny you should say this. When I put on a Miami Hurricane jersey back in the day, we were bigger stars than the Dolphins in Miami, and there was just a swag about us. And when I put the Buck uniform on, not so much. I agree. Look at the coverage of the Eagles. They get about 10 seconds of coverage while the Cowboys get entire segments and shows. But then when I put the Cowboy uniform on, hey, dude, we trained at Thousand Oaks in California. Then we played against the San Diego Chargers, and we went to Los Angeles and spent 2 weeks in L.A. Bro, you walk in with your Cowboy shit on, dude. You were
listen, man. Let me
wait. Let me look at this.
No, I got you. Go ahead.
Bars, they knew you were Cowboys. They were like the cow, and I'm like, it can't be that. It can't be it can't be that. I mean, and Michael Irvin's going, damn right, it's that. And I'm like, can't be this. I had a Buck uniform on 2 years ago. No one gave a shit. I had a Cowboy uniform on in LA. The Cowboys are here. The Cowboys are here. And I'm going like, and I know that burns you. Look at that.
Listen, man. Sills, I've being from Philly, you see the kind of people who are made there. You see what the team means to the people. I grew up in Raymond Rosen Projects, and when the Philadelphia Eagles won that Super Bowl, when the Philadelphia Eagles are relevant, when they're winning, the city can't be stopped. The city is undefeated. So this is how I look at it, man. Everything the Philadelphia Eagles have gotten, they have to earn it. No, the Philadelphia Eagles can go undefeated, Sills, undefeated. You know what they'll say? Who did they play? Who did they beat? Right, 17-0. You know what? They didn't go 18-0. It means nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Beat the goat in my book.
The Philadelphia Eagles can win 3 Super Bowls back to back. Well, guess what? They don't have 6 of them. They move the goalposts every time. No, I'm not saying you, but every time with Philadelphia, they move the goalposts with Philadelphia every single time. But guess what? When it comes to the Cowboys, oh no, hey, listen, the star. You know what I'm saying? No, Dak, he's the guy. You know what I mean? Jerry Jones, he's money making Mitch. He knows what to do. He knows how to keep those cheerleaders going and the beer flowing. Nah, man, I'm not jacking that. Philly is coming for everything. I don't care if you're a Niner guy, a Miami guy, a Chief guy. Guess what, man? Rain, sleet, or snow, these Eagles train to go, Sills. Rain, sleet, or snow, we train to go. Everybody is food, and we starving.
I would never bring my Cowboy jersey. Hey, get this. You notice when Cobb comes on now, I told Cobb, I go, hey, man, you got some balls, man. You got that Cowboy helmet. Look at there. There you go, Prince. You got that Cowboy helmet sitting next to that Eagle helmet. You might want to take that thing down, man. Even Xander. I had the cowboy helmet up. He goes, man, I've never really said any shit about your setup. He goes like this. He goes, hey, man, you're going to have to take that down, man. It's not good, man. And it was funny for an entire week. Xander said we had trouble with the show going on. And then the next week I took the thing down. The thing was perfect. I'm like, was it coincidence or not? I don't know.
Hey, listen, man. I don't know, man. Those Cowboys got bad juju. But look,
hey,
man,
one last thing here, man, on this.
Yeah,
on
for
this,
sure.
Are you concerned about the Jet game at all?
I'm concerned about every game. Because
about Florio says Florio's got 24-23 Jets.
Okay, Mike Florio. Okay. I mean, he is a lawyer, so he's trained to lie. So, I'll put it to you this way, man. Every game, I don't go into any matchup thinking we deserve to win. Remember, I was just talking about this, Sills. You got to watch it. You got to listen to me now. I don't go into any game thinking we deserve to win. We got to earn it. We're going to take it. You dig what I'm saying? We don't go into games thinking, we can melon in the day. That's Cowboys talk, okay? As Eagles fans, we worry about every game. We watch every snap. You know what I mean? We know every player's number on the back of his jersey. We know who's doing what and who's not doing what. You know what I mean? So, again, every game I'm worried about. The Jets, I'm worried about them because right now they're on the menu. But guess what? I'll take 2.
Yeah, I don't want anything the Jets are serving, so I'm going to throw up all over them.
I don't want anything they're serving.
I don't want anything they're serving, so I'm going to throw up all over them, and I'm going to be so pissed off because I'm going to eat I'm going to have to eat cookies that day, cookies and water. So I'm going to throw up on you, kick your ass, and then I'm going to get ready for the Dolphins, and then I'm going to eat tuna. How you doing? Hey, Tone, great stuff, my friend. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you for always giving me the opportunity. It means a lot.
You bet, man. It means a lot to me, too. Thank you so much. That's called the segment. We do that with our good friend, Tone. By the way, don't forget, football tonight, Thursday Night Ball. And we're inviting you to go into any one of the Hooters locations in the Northeast area. All you do is go to northeasthooters.com to find that location nearest to you. 40th anniversary. What is better than Hooters and football? Nothing, right? Official home of all Eagle fans, too. The King of Prussia one. HootersToGo.com. You don't want to go into any one of the locations. Use the app. The iconic Hooter girls will bring the food to you. You can bring it back to your house or go into any one of the locations. Tuesdays, buy 10 wings, get 10 free. Wing Wednesdays, 1983, all you can eat. NortheastHooters.com. That's NortheastHooters.com. And when you go into any one of the locations, do me a favor, tell them Big Sil sent you.
Football and Hooters, the perfect